Hello and welcome to another episode in our series on control devices. I am Mr. Spence. The objectives for today's lesson are as follows. At the end of today's lesson, students will be able to differentiate between a single pole and a three-way switch, identify the parts of a three-way switch, determine plausible uses of a three-way switch, and finally, give the color code for a three-way switch. Let's get right into it. A three-way switch is used to turn on or off a light from two locations. The device doesn't necessarily have to be a light, it could be a fan. Whatever needs to be controlled can be controlled from two locations using a three-way switch, or two three-way switches to be correct. Yes, you heard me correctly. Three-way switches must be installed in pairs. To accomplish that, as you will look at the picture here of the three-way switch, it has two traveler terminals which must be connected together using blue wires. Physically, the three-way switch is similar to the single pole switch, only that it has three terminal screws, as we will discover later as we look deeper on the parts of a three-way switch. Some facts about the three-way switch. Three-way switches are used to control a lighting outlet or outlets from two locations as said before. An installation example would be in a living room that has two doorways. One three-way switch would be located next to one doorway and the other would be located next to the other doorway. A person entering or leaving the room can turn the lighting outlets on or off from either doorway. Three-way switches have three terminals. Two of the terminals are called traveler terminals. They have the same brass color and are located directly across from each other on opposite sides of the switch, as you would have seen in the previous slide. I must pause to say as well, another typical example of use of a three-way switch is in a long hallway, where someone entering a hallway can turn the lighting fixture on, and someone leave, that same person leaving the hallway can disconnect the lighting fixture from a different point. So that's a typical use also of three-way switches. Now, continuing, the other screw terminal, which is black in color, is called the common terminal. It, um, it is used, or it may be also called the point or the hinge terminal. The common terminal, uh, students, is the most important terminal on the three-way switch. It is the point at which the voltage will enter the switch or leave the switch to enter into the load. So the common terminal, sorry, is extremely important, and it is normally by itself at the bottom across from the ground terminal, and it's in most cases colored black. An important feature of the toggle on the three-way switch is that it does not have any on or off position. There is no up or down with the three-way switches, so it may be mounted in any direction. Three-way switches must be mounted in pairs, and we cannot overemphasize it. Now, the importance of not having any designation on the on or off on the toggle is so that you can disengage or engage it from any position, whether in the case of a room, from door 1, you turn it on, door 2, you turn it off. Parts of a three-way switch. And these parts are common to all switches, mounting ears, mounting strap. But here we find our first traveler terminal, Then we notice there is no on or off designation above the toggle. The common terminal in this diagram is colored red, but in most cases it will be colored in black. The toggle, the 6 to 32 mounting screw, and as you can remember from our discussion on single pole switches, that the mounting screw is used to fasten or to secure the switch within the switch box. Then we have the ground terminal, which is used to make sure that if there's any excess voltage on the circuit, it passes through the ground terminal screw. And finally, there is the opposite traveler terminal. So as you can see, two traveler terminals are common terminals, and then the other parts are typical, which are ground, mounting screw, mounting strap, and mounting ears. Now let's look at two configurations for three-way switches, or two configurations for three-way switch circuits, as the caption says. Remember, three-way switches must be connected in pairs. So here we have one lamp controlled from two locations. The feed is at the lamp. So as we can trace this section here, we recognize that this is the source pipe. The main hot comes in and it goes into this first switch, this first three-way switch. And as we can see, the black wire, which is the main hot, comes and it connects to the common screw terminal at the base of the three-way switch. Then two traveler conductors are taken from the traveler terminal, sent through the main pipe, across the lamp, and down to the opposite three-way switch. And it connects to those two traveler terminals. From the common at the bottom of this three-way switch, the red wire or the switch feed comes back up, comes through, and connects to the keyless receptacle or the lamp. The main neutral from the source will now come directly to the lamp and connect. So that's how the three-way switch works. That's how it is wired. That's how it is connected. Obviously, we didn't mention the ground, but if we were connecting the ground, we would simply send the ground down, splice it and connect it to this box here to ground that box, send it to connect to this box here or to the switch if the switch has a grounding terminal, and then we would do the same for the opposite side. Now the same thing, however, we are noticing that the source is directly fed to this circuit. So the source is not being shared between two circuits. It's being fed directly into this circuit. And again, we trace the main hot. It comes through and it connects to the first three-way switch here onto the common terminal. Two travelers leave from the two traveler terminals, blue wires. They go over and they connect to the opposite three-way switch. Then from the base common, we send red directly back to the lamp. The main source neutral is now also connected to the lamp. So if we keep the principles of the three-way switch in mind, we find out that wiring in it is very simple. Two traveler terminals that must connect between both three-way switches. Then my general rule is the switch that is closest to the source will be connected to black, and the switch that is closest to the load would be connected using red. So in this case, I chose to connect my black to the first switch and send my red from the furthest away switch. However, it doesn't really matter which one the red or the black comes from. But for ease of wiring, you may want to couple devices that are closer together um, to reduce the use of excessive wiring. Now here we also like to show you the pictorial diagram of this, and in this one you see that the lamp, the feed is at the switch, which makes it much easier for wiring. So the source hot just comes directly to the first three-way switch, and then you send the traveler to couple up with the second three-way switch, and then all you do is send the switch feed to the lamp. The source neutral goes directly to the lamp of the pictorial. And on the line diagram, the schematic diagram, we see the symbol for the three-way switch with two possible contacts. Both are connected by blue wires across to the next three-way switch with the two possible traveler contacts and the common sent straight to the lamp. So black goes in, red comes out, neutral wires go directly to the lamp. All right, so you have an activity. So at this point is where you will pause the video. If you have the capability to screenshot this, take a screenshot of this, you can. If not, pause the video, take your time and draw this. And you can dial back a few slides and use it to help you to wire this diagram. The source is at the first three-way switch, and as you can see, it's two lamps controlled from two locations. So you'll do the pictorial diagram with your coloring pencils. Remember now that blue is for traveler, red is switch feed, black is hot, and you will use your brown crayon pencil for neutral, which means that instead of using white wire, you will use your brown crayon pencil to indicate where the neutral will be connected. Then you will also use that same configuration for this pictorial over here, where you have three-way switch number 1, three-way switch number 2, and lamp 1, lamp 2, as pictured here in the pictorial. So you do that, submit that to your teacher, and you will get a nice grade for this. So in recap, let's look at what we learned today. Three-way switches are used to control devices from two locations. Three-way switches are used in pairs. Three-way switches have three terminals, two traveler and a common terminal. And finally, three-way switches are used in large rooms or hallways where multiple controls are required. There you have it. Thank you for watching.